Hey guys, Azaze here, and I decided to talk about my current setup for my main watercolor palette. A lot of this is going to change. I wasn't really too careful with where I put my paint or how I had arranged everything, so forgive the messiness of this palette. It will change eventually, the more I use the paint. Alright, so let's talk about these guys right here. These are actually the Daniel Smith Essentials set. It's the little 5mm tubes. So this is Lemon Yellow, New Gamboge, Quint Rose, Pyro Scarlet, Phthalo Blue, I think it's green shade, and then this is Ultramarine Blue. Alright, so it kind of goes a little crazy the other way. So let's start over here. I think this is Prussian blue, or an Indathrone blue. Oh, I cannot pronounce that. I think it's Jackson's paint. And then this is another Phthalo blue. I think this is Phthalo blue red shade. And then this is Phthalo green. I think this is raw Sienna, and this might be raw Umber, or burnt, I can't remember, but these are Blick paints that I bought. I think those were like the first artist grade paints that I bought, not really knowing the different pigments and stuff. And I bought a bunch of cadmiums, but I realized I didn't really want any of the toxic paints, and I didn't do enough research about that, and I still am not as familiar. But, alright, let's moving on to this direction. I think this is Permanent Magenta Jackson's. And this is French Ultramarine Blue, that's Daniel Smith. Daniel Smith's Cerulean Blue Chromium. I think this is Daniel Smith Hansa Medium. Hansa Yellow Medium. I don't remember. It's a Monte, Sienna, and then this is Jackson's Sepia, and then this is Jackson's Payne's Gray. So these paints up here I'm not really going to talk about because they are experimental. I'm not sure if I want to keep them on my palette, but I kind of forget which paints are which too. So I think I'm just not going to bother listing them because I'm probably wrong. But I have vague ideas of which ones they are. I just can't remember the names of them all. But I do want to mention that there are a few things that I'm kind of looking for in terms of which paints I want to use in my main watercolor palettes. One of them is saturation. I really like high vibrant colored paints, so that's something that I've been kind of looking into. I think most paints are pretty saturated. There might be a few that aren't, but so far most of the paints that I've used are. And then I also like being able to tint it out, so lighten or darken it. So I'm okay with like a high, like really strong colored, like the Phthalos. Those are really strong. I don't mind the Phthalos because I can tint them down. I don't mind the staining. Like I said, I can erase the staining after a while. I am looking for good color mixes so that they make nice vibrant colors together. And then I also really want to be more earth aware of the paints, so I did not realize that the cerulean is probably a more toxic paint. So that's something that I'll have to consider. I did buy a bunch of cerulean before I knew that it was a toxic paint or a heavy metal. I'm not sure. It's not as earth friendly. So I want to be more conscious of that when I buy my paints in the future. But I will keep using what I have because I've already purchased them and I really enjoy that color. So if you know any alternatives to this color, I preferably would not like white to be one of the additional colors, and I do actually prefer to have single pigments. I'm okay with like some convenience colors, but ideally I would like to be able to mix my own colors. So that is one of my goals. And so I think that's all I have to say about this right now. This is just kind of where it's at. I know things will definitely shift and move, and I'll have to keep you posted on that whenever it changes. But for now, I'm just trying to use the paints that I have because I have more than enough, and I'm extremely fortunate to be able to buy these paints and use them. So hopefully you guys enjoy this journey with me, and I will keep you updated the next big change or whenever I remember to record it for you guys. I definitely want to be able to like have a more chromatic order to this, but we'll see. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing that I noticed already that I want to change on this palette is the sepia that I have. I realized if I have this burnt umber, or is it raw umber? I'm not sure. I have to look at my paint tube. Or this raw sienna. Honestly, when I have these two, I don't really need this. I can just darken it with Payne's Gray. So that's something that I'll probably remove eventually, or figure out how I'm going to change it, because I actually think I prefer these two colors over having the sepia on my palette. And again, these are all mixed brands. Daniel Smith's are good. Everyone recommends them. But I've actually enjoyed pretty much all the paints I have. Again, I think my preference might be M. Graham. I do like the Sennelier, and I do like Daniel Smith's. Oh, I just bought some Da Vinci, and I do like their paints as well. So, I don't know if I have a favorite yet, but I'm still using the paints that I have and trying to feel out the differences between each paint and each paint brand. So hopefully this is kind of informative for you guys. I guess I'll talk about it more later once I gain more understanding about the different paints. One more thing is that you guys probably want to look at pigment names rather than the colors. So for instance, like quinacridone rose, you want to look for like PB19 rather than searching across the brands of quinacridone rose, because they will have different names, but the pigments will be the same. So as a hobbyist beginner, you might want to look for those pigment numbers instead, or like ultramarine blue. It's pretty consistent, but you want to look for PB29. I don't know all the numbers of the pigments, so that's something either experience or research will provide for you. So definitely look that up, because as a newbie, I had no idea. I was searching by the paint names rather than the paint pigments, and I think that threw me off a lot. And I don't know if it was common knowledge or not, but I think that's something as a beginner watercolorist would be good to know. So I wanted to share that with you guys too. Hopefully that helps you guys in your journey. Okay, if you guys could, I'd appreciate any like, subscribe, ring the bell for any notifications of whenever I post a video. I'd appreciate your support. Alright, thanks guys.